Right. So get this. Today we're going deep, really deep, into the world of business intelligence developers.
Oh, yeah, BI developers. That's a pretty hot topic these days.
It is. It is. And we're going to be talking about everything, like what they actually do, day to
Yeah,
day,
the skill
the
role.
skills they need, what those job interviews are really like.
And those interview questions, right?
Oh, especially those tricky interview
Yeah.
questions. And we've got a great guide for this deep dive. We're looking at this Indeed.com article. It's all about business intelligence developer interview questions and answers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, think of it like a cheat sheet,
Yeah.
whether you want to become a BI developer yourself
Mm-hmm.
or you're just kind of curious about like how data is shaping, the business world these days.
Well, and, even if you're not like a tech expert or anything,
Right.
understanding this whole field, it can be really valuable.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, just about every industry is moving towards data-driven decision-making.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Data is king, as they say.
That's right.
I mean, so let's break it down.
Yeah.
What does a business intelligence developer actually do all day? Like what's their gig?
So they're like the bridge between raw data, all that messy data, and the insights, right? The
Yeah.
actionable insights.
Okay.
It says here in the article, it describes them as creating and managing BI and analytic solutions that turn data into knowledge.
Okay, that sounds kind of complicated.
It sounds complicated, but basically they're taking all that data and making it something businesses can use to make like better decisions.
Oh, so they're kind of like data translators. that
Hey,
way.
a good way to put it.
All right, so speaking of translating, the article mentions, needing proficiency in VI technologies.
Yeah.
So what exactly are we talking about here? What does that even mean?
So that means knowing your way around the tools.
Right.
The platforms like Tableau, Power BI, Quick View.
Okay.
These are the big ones that help BI developers do things like, visualize the data, build dashboards, create reports.
I've heard of Tableau.
Yeah.
It's like super user-friendly, right?
So it is very user-friendly. Yeah, this is one of the reasons it's so popular.
Okay.
You don't have to be a coding whiz to use it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's got that drag and drop interface, so you can make some pretty impressive visualizations even if you're not, a coding expert.
Gotcha. But I imagine there's more to the job than just making pretty charts and graphs.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. There's a lot more to it.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, the article also talks about the importance of understanding database management systems.
Okay, database management. That's
Yeah, so that's where SQL comes in.
SQL?
Yeah, SQL, it's a querying language. It lets the BI developers talk to the databases,
Oh, okay.
pull out specific information, the stuff they need.
So it's like knowing the secret code to unlock all the data treasures.
You got it.
That's cool. So it's not enough to just know the tools.
Right.
You got to know how to talk to the data
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You got to speak the language.
And I bet you need a pretty sharp mind to make sense of it all, right?
Yeah, definitely. You need that keen analytical mind that the article talks about. It's really at the heart of it.
Okay.
It's not just collecting data. It's finding the patterns, the trends, and the insights.
The story in the data.
Exact.
So it sounds like you need a mix of technical skills and some creative problem solving too.
Oh, for sure. It's a good blend.
And what about communication skills? Like, are those important for BI developers?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, remember that example in the article about analyzing customer data to optimize marketing campaigns?
Yeah.
Imagine uncovering all those insights, but then you can't explain it to the marketing team.
Right.
They wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it'd be like speaking different languages.
Exactly. So a good BI developer, they got to be a bit of a storyteller too.
Oh, that's interesting.
They need to take that complex data and turn it into a narrative that anyone can understand.
Sounds like it.
Something they can act on.
The data storyteller.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, speaking of stories, let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about those interview questions
Oh, yeah.
because I bet they could be pretty intimidating. Right?
Oh, they can be, yeah.
I mean, have you ever been in like a BI developer interview?
I have. And they really want to see how you think, how you approach problems, how you communicate your ideas.
So it's not just about like knowing the right answer.
No, it's about the process.
It's the whole package.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's dive into some of these questions then.
Huh.
One that really caught my eye was, describe a time when you made a data-driven decision.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking for real-world experience there.
Absolutely. They want to see that you can take the data and actually apply it.
Not just like theoretical knowledge. Yeah, and you know what? This is a great question for anyone listening to think about, even if they're not, interviewing for a BI role.
I agree.
Have you ever stopped to think about the data-driven decisions you make in your own life?
A good point.
Yeah, I mean, we all use data to make decisions all the time.
We do. We do. Maybe not even consciously.
Right, right. Like from choosing what to have for breakfast to like planning a vacation.
Yeah.
Data's involved in all of it.
It is. We're surrounded by data.
Okay, here's one that I imagine could be a bit tricky. How do you handle data discrepancies?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because let's face it, data isn't always perfect.
No, it's not. It can be messy, for sure.
So how do you deal with that?
Well, the article talks about being thorough,
Okay.
using multiple sources,
Right.
validating your findings.
And making sure it's all legit.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not that straightforward.
Really?
Oh yeah, I remember one project where
Oh, tell me more. What happened?
well, we were working with sales data.
From different regions.
Okay.
And the numbers, they just weren't adding up.
Oh no.
It turned out that each region had a different definition for what a sale was.
Oh, wow.
So we had to really dig in there,
Huh?
talk to the sales teams, and figure out why the data was so messy.
So it wasn't just about like cleaning the data.
Yeah.
You had to get to the bottom of why it was messy in the first place.
Exactly. And that often means talking to people, collaborating with people outside the data team.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's the question about like common issues in data analysis.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing incomplete or inaccurate data. That's got to be a big one, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand.
Right. You need that solid foundation.
You do. And BI developers, they need to be able to spot those data quality issues and know how to fix them.
And sometimes I guess that means going back to the source, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Cleaning the data.
And sometimes it means finding creative workarounds. So it sounds like BI developers, they got to be part detective, part data janitor, and part storyteller too.
That's a great way to put it.
It's a pretty dynamic role.
It is. And that's just scratching the surface.
That
There's
is.
so much more to explore.
Well, lucky for us, we've got plenty more time to dive deeper into this.
We do.
So we'll be back in a moment to uncover even more about this fascinating field. So stick with us.
Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the wild world of business intelligence developers.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field.
It is.
Lots to unpack.
It is. And before the break, we were getting into some of those interview questions.
Yes, those interview questions, they can be a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but they're not just about like testing your knowledge.
Right.
It's more about like how you think,
Yeah, your approach.
how you approach challenges.
Problem solving.
Yeah, problem solving. Exactly.
It's a big part of it.
Okay, so I'm curious about this one from the Indeed article. It says, "How do you approach developing a BI report?"
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it seems like there are a lot of like moving parts involved.
There are.
Even before you like start digging into the data.
Right. And the article, it talks about this structured approach, starting with the big picture.
Okay, the big picture.
Yeah, like what's the goal of this report? What are the questions we're trying to answer? What decisions are going to be made based on this information?
So it's like setting out on a journey, right?
Yeah.
You got to know where you're going before you can plan the route.
Exactly. You need that destination in mind.
Okay, so once you've got that roadmap,
Yeah.
like what's next?
So then it's all about gathering the data,
Okay,
cleaning it, making sure it's accurate, relevant.
right. No skipping the data cleaning step,
No, definitely not.
no matter how tempting it might be.
Nope, bad data leads to bad decisions.
Exactly.
And that's a headache nobody needs.
For sure. Okay, so you've got the clean data, then what?
Then comes the analysis phase.
Okay.
This is where you're finding those patterns, the trends, the insights. That's what answers those original questions.
Right, you're making sense of it all.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got the insights, now what? You got to like make it visual, right?
Yeah, make it visual, make it clear, compelling. Those visuals are crucial.
Okay.
The article doesn't say this specifically,
Yeah.
but I'd imagine Tableau would be really helpful here with its interactive dashboards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With a well-designed chart or graph, it can communicate so much more than a spreadsheet full of numbers.
Oh, for sure. A picture's worth 1,000 words, as they say.
That's right.
Okay, but ultimately, like, it's about making sure the report meets the user's needs, right?
Okay.
Is it easy to understand? Does it answer their questions?
Right. Is it actually useful?
It's got to be useful.
Can they use it to make decisions?
That's the whole point.
That's the goal.
Right, so speaking of impact, let's move on to a question that really tests those problem-solving skills.
Okay, let's do it.
The article asks, Can you describe your most challenging business intelligence project and how you managed it?
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, this is where I bet those soft skills, like communication and collaboration, those really come into play.
Oh, absolutely. They're essential.
Yeah.
The article gives an example answer. It focuses on tight deadlines, complex requirements, and it really emphasizes the importance of staying organized,
Right.
working effectively with the team, making sure everybody's on track.
So it's almost like being a project manager on top of all the technical stuff.
In many ways, yes, BI developers often work on those big, complex projects.
Right, for lots of stakeholders.
Exactly. So those project management skills, they're really valuable.
That makes sense. Okay, let's fire off a few more questions here.
Okay.
This one seems especially relevant these days. How do you ensure data accuracy and integrity?
Oh, that's a big one.
That seems like a constant concern in the data world.
It is. Data accuracy is paramount.
So how do you make sure the data is good?
Well, the article mentions thorough data cleaning, validation, and something called ETL processes.
EPL.
Yeah, it stands for extract, transform, load.
Okay, what does that mean?
So basically, it's taking that raw data from all those different sources, cleaning it up, transforming it into a usable format,
Okay.
and loading it into a data warehouse or another system where it can be analyzed.
So it's like taking a bunch of like raw ingredients
Yes.
and turning them into a like delicious data-driven meal.
I like that analogy.
And I imagine documentation is crucial too, right? Like keeping a data dictionary
Oh, absolutely. Documentation is key.
to define all the terms and
Yes,
variables.
everyone's on the same page, speaking the same language.
Right, consistency is key.
Exactly.
Okay, and speaking of consistent language, let's go back to a question we touched on earlier. What is your experience with SQL or other querying languages?
Ugh, yes. SQL, the universal language of data.
It seems like it's essential for BI developers.
It really is. The article's example answer, it talks about how SQL is used to pull information from databases,
Yeah?
manipulate data, create reports.
Okay.
It also mentions Python.
Python, yeah, I've heard that's becoming really popular.
It is, especially for data analysis and machine learning.
So it sounds like a good BI developer, they need a whole toolbox of different tools and languages.
They do. They need to be versatile, adaptable.
The field's constantly evolving.
It is. You got to keep up.
Okay, well, speaking of evolving, let's move into the bonus round here.
Okay, bonus round.
The article lists a few more, like, thought-provoking questions.
Yeah, the deeper questions.
Yeah, these are getting pretty specific.
They are. It's like they're really trying to see not just your knowledge, but like how deeply you understand the field.
Okay, well, hit me with one. What's a question that really makes you think?
This one is interesting. How would you handle a situation where the data you need for your analysis is not available?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a real-world scenario. I bet every BI developer has run into that at some point.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It forces you to get creative.
It does. You got to think outside the box.
What would you say is a good way to handle that kind of situation?
Well, I think the key is to be resourceful.
Okay.
Maybe you can find some proxy data.
Right.
It might not be perfect, but it could give you some insights.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can collaborate with other teams.
Yeah, pull some resources.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive, finding solutions.
So it's like using your analytical skills, not just to analyze the data, but to analyze the problem itself.
You got it.
That's a good point. And that brings us to another question. How do you usually present your reports and findings to non-technical teams?
Ah, yes, the communication piece.
Because even if your analysis is brilliant, it's useless if nobody understands it.
Exactly. You got to be able to explain it clearly.
Right, so your audience might be executives, managers,
Right.
people who don't have a technical background.
Yeah, you got to tailor your communication style.
I bet visuals are even more important in those situations, right?
Oh, absolutely. A clear chart or graph, it can really drive the message home.
For sure. And don't forget about the power of a good story.
Oh, yeah. Stories are powerful.
To really engage your audience and make those insights memorable.
Exactly. BI developers are data storytellers.
That's right. Okay, let's squeeze in one more question before we wrap up this section.
Okay, one more.
This one's a little bit more technical. Can you explain the process of ETL?
Ah, ETL, the backbone of data warehousing.
We talked about it a little bit before.
We did.
But just to recap, what is it?
So it's taking the data from those different sources, cleaning it up, transforming it, loading it into a central repository, like a data warehouse.
Right, so it can be accessed and analyzed.
Exactly, just like cooking.
Oh, there's that analogy again.
Yeah, you got your raw ingredients,
Wow.
you turn them into a delicious meal.
I like it.
And just like with cooking, there are different tools and techniques for ETL.
Right.
Some BI developers even specialize in this area. They become ETL experts.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From essential skills to interview questions, even some real-world challenges.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, and it's clear that BI developers wear a lot of hats.
They do. It's a demanding role, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, you get to work with data, solve problems, tell stories.
It's a great combination.
It is. It sounds like a perfect role for someone who loves data, enjoys problem solving,
Yeah.
has a knack for storytelling.
I agree. If that sounds like you, this might be the field for you.
Okay, well, as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Yes.
I'm excited to explore the bigger picture.
Me too.
The future of the field,
Yeah.
the potential career paths for aspiring BI developers.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, stay with us, folks. We're about to uncover even more fascinating insights into the world of business intelligence. Okay, so welcome back. We've spent this whole deep dive exploring what it means to be a business intelligence developer.
We have. It's been a pretty thorough look.
It has. We talked about like the skills you need, the tools you use, those interview questions.
Real world challenges. We even got into some of those.
Yeah, those tricky situations you might run into.
And I think one of the key takeaways here is that it's not just about the technical stuff.
Right.
You got to understand the business, communicate effectively.
Tell the story.
Exactly. Use the data to tell a story that actually drives action.
Yeah, it's like you're like a data detective, a translator, and a storyteller all in one.
That's a good way to put it. It really is.
That's pretty cool. And speaking of storytelling, there's another question from the Indeed article that kind of highlights this whole idea.
Yeah.
Can you describe a time when you detected a significant trend in data?
Ooh, I like that one.
That's where BI developers' insights can really, really shine, right?
Absolutely. It's about seeing the signal through all the noise.
Right, uncovering those hidden patterns.
Exactly. The things that other people might miss.
And imagine, like, spotting a trend that leads to a whole new product or
Yeah.
helps a company, run more efficiently.
That's the kind of impact a skilled BI developer can have.
That's huge. It really shows the power of data.
It does.
But let's not forget about keeping those skills sharp, because the article also asks, how do you keep up to date with the latest BI developments and technologies?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one because this field moves so fast.
It does. It seems like there's always something new to learn.
Always. New tools, new techniques. You got to be a lifelong learner.
Right. Conferences, publications, experimenting with new platforms.
Got to stay ahead of the curve.
That's like any profession, right?
It is. Invest in yourself. Invest in your skills.
Okay, so speaking of staying relevant, let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture.
Okay, big picture.
What about the future of the field itself? The article touches on potential career paths.
Yeah.
But what do you see happening in the world of BI, like in the years to come?
Well, that's a tough question.
I know it's a big one.
The data world is always changing. It's hard to predict.
Right.
But I do think we'll see AI, machine learning playing a much bigger role.
Oh, interesting. What do you think that will look like?
Well, I think we'll see more collaboration.
Okay.
BI developers working closely with data scientists.
Right, bringing those different perspectives together.
Yeah, it'll be less about one person doing it all and more about teams combining their expertise.
Like a data dream team.
Exactly. And as AI gets more sophisticated, the tools will get even more powerful, more user-friendly.
So maybe BI insights will be more accessible to people without technical backgrounds.
That's what I'm hoping for, democratize the data a little bit.
Yeah, empower more people. So for anyone listening who's thinking about a career in BI,
Yeah.
it sounds like a pretty exciting time to jump in.
It is. If you love data, problem solving, storytelling,
This could be the field for you.
it really could.
And if you're already working in BI,
Yeah.
keep learning, keep experimenting, stay curious.
The future is bright for BI.
Lots of possibilities.
Yeah. And, speaking of the future, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on.
Okay.
As we rely more and more on AI and automation, how is that going to impact human analysts?
Oh, that's a good one.
Will it be collaboration, competition, or something else entirely?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
It's something to think about.
It is. It's been an amazing journey exploring the world of business intelligence developers.
It has.
We've learned about their role in turning data into insights, the skills they need, the possibilities that lie ahead.
It's a fascinating field.
It is. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
keep exploring that fascinating world of data. And we'll see you next time.